Hi everyone and welcome back to our vodcast. It is my pleasure to introduce our dear guest, Professor Dr. Wael Att. My name is Dr. Stefan Scholz and we are very pleased to have him here today. An innovator, digital dentist, prosthodontist, implantologist and key opinion leader around the world. Welcome back
Thank
to
you
Freiburg.
so much, Stefan. Always good to see you, my friend.
Thank you so much. Well, how does it feel to be back in Freiburg, our business hometown where we met for the first time in 2004?
I mean, it's not unusual to come back to where everything started like 25 years ago. So for me, coming back to Freiburg is like coming back home. I try every year to come at least twice here, catch up with friends, colleagues, go to the school. Again, where everything started, and then get a glimpse of what's happening here.
Yeah, it's amazing that you're still so connected to the place, and we're grateful to have you as a clinician, as a friend, and as an innovator, as we've said. But just going back to the time, I think 2004 is when we met for the first time at Professor Stroop's department, just across the road at Freiburg University, and I vividly remember guiding the hands during our first perio surgery at the time. So that's where it all started. We had a comprehensive treatment approach. We were going through backward planning at the time, so starting with the end in mind. That was right in our DNA from the start, and it was such an exhilarating time for me. And what are your thoughts looking back?
I mean, it has and continue to be an amazing experience every time that I start remembering what we did before. Because it's actually not different from what we're doing today. Mm-hmm. But now you add to it all the digital tools that we have in our hands in order to make us, I'm not going to say better, but more efficient, more accurate, and actually provide a better service ultimately for the patients. But going back 25 years, even before we met,
yes,
I finished oral surgery, and then when I moved to Freiburg, it was, for me, is like, why are they taking care of all of these details? Like we
mm-hmm.
used to, like the thinking of or wearing the hat of an oral surgeon. You are extracting teeth, impacted teeth. You're doing like these big sutures, and then like a macho, you know how it is.
Yeah.
And then you move to perio-pros approach, where you have a comprehensive treatment planning approach, where you think about all of the details. And like moving from like a 3-0 suture to a 6 or 7-0 suture, wearing loops, all of these things, I was like, why are we thinking about all of these things? Especially when they start talking about dental papilla,
yeah.
Right? You know, like you have to think about the papilla. I was like, why this is, but actually the devil is in the details. And this is where you learn how to elevate your level of dentistry by taking care of details. And this is how it started. So we started thinking, taking the cases, dicing them into different bricks, putting them together in order to put up a complete treatment plan. That was amazing. And I think our mentor, Jörg Stroop, we have to dedicate all the credit to him.
Yes.
He was the one who was pushing us and giving us the tools in order to improve ourselves, ultimately providing better patient care.
Yeah, and he was bringing everyone to the table, right? When we met on Monday afternoons, it was always a thrill in the room because you had to present your cases, and while everyone was there from the pros department, all your peers, but also the people you were looking up to, and it was always the perfect mix of pressure, but also expectation on how to improve, how to get better, and that was a very special atmosphere. I really savored at the time.
It was amazing. It
Yeah.
was amazing, and I can quote actually a story, my own story. I did my first implant case,
Mm-hmm.
and I was so proud of it.
Yeah.
And before we had all of the digital cameras, the DSLRs, and the mirrorless cameras, all of these, we had these huge cameras where you can take, you know, the slides. You have to wait for 3 days until you get the slides.
Yes.
And make sure that your photos are good. So
Yeah.
we used to wait for them to develop, and was so proud. We used to put them in magazines.
Mm-hmm.
And then you look at these slides. You had these as well,
I remember,
right?
yeah,
So-
of course.
So what happened is that I was so proud of that case, and I went to Jörg. I scheduled an appointment with him, and I went like, I want to show you my first implant case. And I remember it was a full mouth, upper and lower. And he started looking at the magazine, and he said, no, you have here a bubble, like you have here saliva. this one is not clear. And he was taking the slides out and throwing them in the trash next to him.
No.
And I was like, I felt my heart like falling apart. And by the time he finished, like, I think he took 1/3 of the slides, threw them in the trash. And so it started like going down to take out these slides. And he said, no, 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 trash stays in the trash. This is what he said at the time. But, you know, like, I was devastated because I was
Yeah.
so proud of the case. But at the same time, it taught me that you really have to always improve. Not to think that you reach that level that you are satisfied with yourself. No, there's always something that you can improve. And that was the motto for all of us.
So let's sum it up a little bit. Attention to detail, one of your favorites, if I'm not mistaken. Don't crack under pressure. And lifelong learning, I think that's part of what keeps us going. I mean, we've been in the field for 25 years now, and we'll be looking ahead later on. So yeah, it was quite an intense time because we had to teach, we had to see our patients. We were looking into research, of course, and we've been publishing some of the data, and you've been really going off and through the roof. You are right now having 160 papers plus under your wings, and when exactly did it start? I remember you've been very busy with writing in Freiburg already, and you got a push from UCLA going over looking into implant surfaces. Take us through that time a little bit, Wael.
I mean, I always wanted to be involved, not in terms of clinics and education, but at the same time in developing in dentistry, which led me to love the idea about research. And I go back again, and I spoke with Jörg at that time, and I told him that I would like to continue doing research and education, plus the clinics. And he said, well, you have to go to another country in order to elevate your level in terms of research capacity, and then select a specific field related to research. And I was so impressed with implants back at that time, still I am,
Yeah.
which led me to the path of going to Los Angeles and stay at UCLA for a couple of years under the leadership of Takahiro Ogawa. It was a Japanese team that were focusing on reducing the next level of implant services. The ultimate goal here was to improve the body response to, or the bone response and the soft tissue response to implant surfaces, accelerate the healing, and provide a longer stability or longevity of the implants over the lifetime of the implant. It was also an eye-opener, I have to say. We worked on looking on how to biofunctionalize the implant surface or photofunctionalize. I moved from taking care of the 6-0 sutures into looking actually at the bone cells, extracting the bone cells and then the bone marrow cells, the mesenchymal stem cells, and planting them onto experimental implant surfaces until the team succeeded to introduce a number of innovations. I think the most exciting one is to help accelerate the bone healing around the implants by 2-folds.
Yeah.
And that was through the photofunctionalization of implant surfaces. We had groundbreaking papers.
Yeah. Remember.
Most of them, they were published in the Journal of Biomaterials, which has one of the highest impact factors in terms of medicine dentistry. And then I came back to Freiburg to continue writing my PhD, and then I summarized everything and defended the PhD and got the PhD at that time. Yeah.
Was it a clear vision or goal you had? I mean, you just said you wanted to continue and follow that path, but did you know where you were supposed to end up, or were you just following your gut feelings and Jörg's advice and context, of course, to make that move to LA? I mean, obviously it was one of the places to go at the time, for sure.
I think that you cannot succeed in anything if you have that kind of thing that doesn't push you further, that you are thinking it's a risk or something like this. So I've been known as a risk taker. So always like go and, but of course it's calculated risk, not just to go crazy and think like it's a calculated risk. I mean, what could go bad or something like this? Nothing would go bad.
Pushing boundaries.
It's just push your boundaries, move forward, think about it, will elevate your level in terms of research. And if you have a good experience, it's good. If it's a bad experience, you still learn from that bad experience. And I have to be thankful that all of the experiences, whether good or bad, they reflected on me and they helped me to elevate like everyone. Whenever I am with colleagues, young colleagues, I tell them just set your goal, get organized, and be persistent in order to get to the goal that you're looking to get to. And that was it the whole time, whether it's in research, clinics, or even education.
When exactly was LA, Wael?
From 2005 to 2007.
Yeah.
2005 to 2007, and it was, I have to say, an amazing experience, because comparing someone who's coming from Syria, moved to Germany, and then moved to the US, it's three different mentalities, three different hats that I had to wear, three different personalities, but at the same time it's enriched me and gave me the opened my horizon to see everything what is happening out there in the world. And then when you go back to Germany after 2 years, then you have to readapt, like from that American mentality to the German mentality, which is not bad. And now, then I went back again to the US. So it's, I have to say, it has been a quite a vivid experience of everything that I have been through.
Yeah, I always admired that, as you've said, coming from different backgrounds and cultures, and you always seem to do so well because, you obviously had that clear path, as you've said. And well, I got trained as a specialist prosthodontist up until 2006, so that's when you were abroad. And we briefly met back here in Freiburg, and I was departing for Australia for the oral implants and professorship at Sydney Uni, again through the contact of Jörg. And I vividly remember that time. It was a great experience living in another country, speaking another language, really starting to think in a different language, making all those experiences, meeting other people, doing research in a different environment, much more open than, less restricted than here in Europe, in Germany in particular. And I also remember vividly coming back through Hawaii, then New York, giving a lecture, and then being back in Freiburg. And I was like, okay, we're back now. So it was also very formative, because then you had to readapt again and soak it all up. And I think it's those different eras in your life really enrich your personality so much. And I always love to tap into those times and with the good memories, with the context, with the people. And that's probably part of life as well. It's the profession that drives us, but it's also the experiences, the context.
Maybe I want to add to this context something that is, for me, has been always a tool to help me make decisions.
Yes.
And I call them the non-negotiables. And these non-negotiables are 4 things. First one is health. And I go for the second one, which is happiness.
Yeah.
The third one is freedom. And the fourth is security. Now, you can mold these the way that you think how they should be tailored towards yourself. But the bottom line, any decision that you would like to make in your life, I think it should be based on these 4 questions or these 4 non-negotiables. Is it going to make me healthier? Is it going to make my health go bad? Is it going to make me miserable, or is it going to make me happier? Is it going to give me the freedom that I'm looking for, or is it going to restrict me in a way that I cannot do anything? And last but not least, security, whether it's financial or something else, is it going to be improved or actually negatively affected? So these 4 non-negotiables, I think that each one of us who is looking for that next level should ask himself or herself about with these 4 things. Yeah.
Wonderfully said. Well, thanks for your advice. Next thing up was Tufts University, a big one. Tell us about the way leading up to that decision. It was a long time where you've been looking for the next step for yourself. Take us through that a little bit.
It was actually a natural thing to happen, because once you got into the professorship and you have your professor title, then you have to look at becoming a department head at some university. And due to the German regulations, you cannot become the head of a department where you are working. You have to go at least 2 years away from that department or city, and then if you want to become the head of that department, you can go back after 2 years. So for me, Freiburg was out of the question. And you have to also not to be limited into the country where you're living, but you have to look international, because teaching is teaching, research is research, and clinical services are clinical services, independent of where you are. So I've been approached by Tufts School of Dental Medicine whether I would like to apply it to become a successor of H.P. Weber, which is ironically he's happened to be a Swiss guy as well. And Boston is a nice city. It's a very European style city, very international. A lot of schools are there, renowned names. A lot of friends live there. So I said to myself, why not? Like, let's go and apply for it. And of course, your decision to move to another country, another city, change your lifestyle is, of course, not in your hands. It's your spouse's hands. So basically, I took my wife with me, and then I showed her the city, and then she liked the city and said, okay, let's go for it. And I have to say, she has been supportive. When we moved from Germany first time to UCLA to Los Angeles, then we went back to Germany, and then we moved again to the US. She's been very tolerant and supportive. And I think now it's a good place for us, Boston, and we are established. But back to Tufts, it was a huge transition, not in terms of moving from a country to a country or a city to a city, but at the same time in terms of the university. Talking about Freiburg, the department where both of us worked, it was about like 50 students in total a year. Now we're talking about 250 students a year. Like at any given time, you have dentistry there is 4 years compared to Germany. So at any given time, you have about 1,000 students, not like here. So basically, there is way more attention to detail there in terms of the curriculum, in terms of the education, in terms of everything that's around it. So you move from like a small department into a huge, ginormous entity that is operating independent of other schools under Tufts University. Not to forget that in addition to the students, you have also the postgraduate students. And in that department, there were 3 postgraduate programs, PROS program, there is the aesthetics program, and there's the implant program.
All under your wings?
Under the wings, yes. And it was about a total of 40 residents, putting all of these 3 programs together. And you can imagine like 250 students, 40 residents, you have about 85 faculty members in one department. And of course, at the end, you have to look at the budget. You have to look about what needs to be introduced. You need to be how to continue the teaching process and elevate the teaching process.
You're running a business,
all of these things, like as if you're operating a business underneath the wings of the PROS department or the School of Dentistry. So it was a very enriching experience for me, an eye-opener for the business aspect of running a department or an enterprise. Meetings, committees, decision-making process, how to analyze stuff before you make a decision. Even the tiniest thing that you can think about in your office, you will say, I would like to purchase a camera. It doesn't work like this at the university. You have just like to have through a committee, you have to justify it, you have to see what is the perspective of investing in buying such an equipment. So all of these things were an eye-opener. Of course, comparing to a dental office or a practice, these processes take way longer time because they are tailored towards the long term. So it was an enriching experience, and my goal, as you know, was to elevate digital dentistry, because I believe that digital dentistry happened years ago. And anyone who did not jump in or going with that path, it's not too late, but they missed a lot. When I went there, it was compared to what we have been doing here in Freiburg, it was, I would say, a little bit behind. So there was an opportunity to introduce a lot of things. Speaking about the digital workflow, starting with data acquisition, in terms of having up-to-date intraoral scanners, manipulating software, up-to-date manipulating software, and also in terms of manufacturing and execution. You have a lot of capacity to introduce milling machines, 3D printers, and other things.
When
So
exactly was that?
I moved in 2018.
18, yes.
2018. I moved 2018, and I cannot believe it. It has been now 7.5 years almost since I moved to the US. But I have to say, it gave me a lot of insights, whether it's in private practice or the university.
But it's interesting, and that's because why I was asking, because I was just going back and backtrack when times really got excited. So you were always focusing on digital way before, and you moved over 2018. The two of us met in Berlin at the Neue Gruppe meeting, I remember. That must have been one of your first presentations coming back from Boston to the continent. And I vividly remember presenting your work in Boston, all the digital puzzle pieces, and I could sense that you were onto something. And the audience at the time, it was about 350 people, was not sitting on the edge like I was. I was really clinging to your lips, and we had lots of discussions afterwards. And it was a meeting with Mauro Fradiani as well, who was also bringing back the golden age of analog pros into the digital part. And that's what really got me thinking. And I thought, okay, when is going to be the big move, the biggest switch from analog to digital? Do you have the feeling that the university environment, as you've described just a moment ago, being a bit more, well, I shouldn't say rigid, but taking more time for your innovative speed, was that holding you back, or did you have other thoughts of doing it on a private sector as well? What was your situation at the time?
I mean, you have the first thing that comes into your mind when we speak about digital, it's the financial commitment.
Yes.
And this was a big, I would say, red tape at any school in terms of a huge amount of investment in the infrastructure that you need to establish at the school. The second thing is the cybersecurity in terms of patient data and the HIPAA compliance, or here in Europe, the GDPR. All of these things need to be protected well under the university environment. And the last and the most important piece of it is the faculty calibration. Because if you imagine you have 85 faculty with different levels of expertise, different levels of knowledge. Some of them been all of their years working on analog, and some of them they just touched a little bit of digital, and some of them they know digital but they don't know what is up to date. How are you going to put all of these people under the same level in terms of calibration? And that's the biggest challenge at any dental school. So it's easier for you to just sit, learn how to do the intraoral scan, how to work on the data, how to do these things. But if you have like a huge number of people, that requires a lot of effort. The kids or the students, it's easy for them to learn. It's so quick for them to catch all of these things. So, but calibrating the faculty, I think that was the biggest thing. So what I did first, I worked on establishing the infrastructure. In terms of connecting with corporate partners and getting the equipment that we need. I have to thank all of them for the support that they have provided to the school and me personally, whether it's in private practice or in terms of research and development. We introduced many intraoral scanners to the department. We introduced software, whether it's for implant planning or for CAD design. We introduced also execution equipment like 3D printers and then also milling machines. All of these were introduced. So the infrastructure established, and then the next step was to establish workflows. So when you have the equipment, you have to provide like a cookbook. What do you need in order to, for example, fabricate a crown? You start with the intraoral scan, or you prep the tooth. You start with the intraoral scan, and then the design, and then the manufacturing. So you have to provide a script, how it would work in each step down the road. And then you have to convey that to the faculty. And you can imagine, starting just from a single crown or an inlay or an inlay, and you end up with a full arch. So all of this has been put into the scripts or these cookbooks, Now you'd go to training the faculty, and that would take the majority of the time. We started thinking about what are we going to do at the postgraduate level, what are we going to do about the undergraduate level. Apparently, because the undergraduate level has the biggest number of students and the biggest number of faculty, then it will take the majority of the time. So I focused on the implant program, and we transitioned the implant program in less than 8 months to become fully digital.
That's very quick.
And then we moved to the PROS program, and then also we transitioned the PROS program to become fully digital. And then last but not least was the aesthetics program. I would say focusing only on the anterior area, whether it's upper or lower, it was an easy transition. And then we wanted to go ahead and start with the undergraduate level during the time of COVID, and that was a big mess, I have to say. Not in terms of trying to introduce the stuff, but how you're gonna put the faculty in one room.
Yeah.
How you're gonna be focusing on not getting all of these issues together, whether the infection control and all of these things. So it took time, and up to this date, I think they're still working on calibrating the faculty for the undergraduate program.
Yeah, very intense times, and I also remember vividly in Sydney introducing implants to the undergraduate teaching program, and took a similar amount of time. I had 5 years, and we've been done after half the time, also setting up the postgrad program with implants on a more regular basis, opening up to the external customers from all over the country in Australia, and yeah, similar structures, similar hurdles, I would think. Maybe for our listeners, it would be very interesting to talk a little bit about change management, as you've just said. How to train yourself and acquire knowledge is the first step, of course, but to hand over that knowledge to your staff, to take off the workload from yourself if you're owning private practice, as you do nowadays. What would you say, Wael, is the most important step if you want to go digital or enhance your digital workflows for our listeners in private practice change management in terms of training your staff?
You'll be surprised, it's not difficult at all. It's just two things: organized and being persistent. So give them a task, tell them, you know what, I want you to take intraoral scan for my patients moving forward. Just the initial status. You'll ask your assistant or your associates, take them, and then he will show it to you. They're gonna do again and again and again. After 5-10 scans, they become proficient in it. The same thing applies to workflows. So when they are following you and seeing how you're doing it, and you're grabbing their hand and showing them, this is how we do it for a single crown, this is how we do it for a fixed partial denture, and this is how we do it for a single implant placement. Time after time, or when it's being repeated in a consistent way, they're gonna learn it.
Good to let go oneself as a dentist to train your staff, and they are great at picking up the skills.
Absolutely.
They're actually excelling in what they're doing. They love doing it. They love to be part of the team, to join the team, and it's great to see the support happening from all the steps, starting from intraoral scanning, from motion data acquisition, from anything else for creating an avatar, and that really gets yourself going and helps you excel in the digital era.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah.
What's happening in private practice in your place in Boston right now?
It was a foreseen transition.
Yes.
Simply because you realize that you enjoy delivering services to your patients, and that smile of the patient when you deliver the work for them, and it's very fulfilling.
Yes.
So comparing Freiburg with Boston in terms of the universities, we did as faculty way more clinical dentistry here compared to Boston. And the reason behind that is that many of the faculty there, they are involved in their own private practices. So basically they are part-timers. They just come to the school, do their teaching for a specific session, specific days, And then they continue working in their private practices, also on a part-time basis. So, for example, 2 days at the school, 2 days in their private practice, or 3 days, depending on their contract. As someone who moved from Germany to the US, you don't have automatically your license. You are operating there as in your faculty license, and we had a faculty practice at the school that we were allowed to work only 1 day a week on the patients. So basically, for me, it's not enough as an individual who loves working on patients. So I was looking forward to get my license. And the interesting thing, going back to being organized and persistent, I wanted to get the license. So I was enrolled at that faculty licensing program, which took me 2 years. But the ironic thing, I was sitting with my own students,
Yes.
taking the tests, taking the exams, and I was actually afraid to fail these exams because it would be very embarrassing if I failed the exam in front of my students. So I passed the exams, I got my license, and the next step was to open a private practice. And it's a boutique-style dental office. Apparently, the name says it all. We called it the Face Dental Group. Because everything starts from the face. We don't just look at the teeth, similar to what you're doing. I try to provide and continue to try to provide the high-end dentistry for anyone who's looking for high-end services. It's a boutique-style dental office located in a prime location in Boston that we are very happy about. It has been recognized as Center for Dental Education by Straumann, and we are doing a lot of live courses from the office. We have a lot of visitors that are coming to shadow us, and of course the ultimate thing is the patient services. So we are happy on any patient that comes and smiles at the end of the treatment, and they're happy with the services that they have provided.
It's so interesting, like you mentioning the story for having to take the exams, sitting in with your students. It was the same with me in Sydney University.
Yes.
And being from the German background, trying to be organized and having the feeling of standing on sand just floating away under your feet, it was very draining at the time. I did make progress. I was supposed to take 3 to 5 years. It was a challenging time. And basically, the little progress I was able to make to go down that road made me come back to Freiburg, literally. So you stayed in Boston. I made the move back to Freiburg, and it's very interesting. We started with 2 dentists here, my colleague and business partner here, and we set the goal to create a specialty center. So we have pros, endo, perio, TMD, aesthetic dentistry, and nowadays digital. We didn't have digital on the map 2010 when we started doing that, but that was the clear idea at the time. It was 2017, after 7 years when that goal was reached. We said, oh, okay, that was the basic idea, and we followed through. It was a lot of work, of course, and commitment, but just starting with that spark, with the idea, with a love for dentistry, of course, in a relatively small city like Freiburg, that was a good feeling that you can follow your dreams. And then I thought we were done, but then came digital around the corner. And yes, we've just mentioned 2018, 2019 for us was a pivotal year when we met with Christian Coachman in Madrid. And I always wanted to have that patient contact interaction and the physical part of working on implant prosthodontics, basically. And then we visited Florin Kafar in Timisoara, who was also at the forefront of going fully digital, or being fully digital already, just with a few analog steps in between at the time. But that was amazing to see, and I remember assisting him chairside, prepping the course patient, and it so got me going where I thought, oh my God, we really have to do this when we're coming back. And then Sebastian and I sat on the plane from Timisoara to Munich to Freiburg, and we were scribbling again notes how to transform our business, going digital. We had a business plan for a year and a half, and that was on a Sunday where we departed, and then we came back on a Monday. And we got so excited, we thought, we can't wait, let's do this right now. And that's basically when we started, 2019, to open up this very level in the building here, the Freiburg city center. And starting our own digital lab with context from the dental school where I was allowed to teach for 15 years, the dental master technicians, and finding the people to share the dream and the passion for it I think it was hard at the time to get things going in 2019 because softwares weren't collaborating that well. The exchange of information wasn't that clear as it was now. Yeah, still it was such an exciting time because all of a sudden all it started to make sense, and to see it happen here was and still is amazing, and that's basically the wave we're still riding here. It's very interesting to see our two ways intersect over time at certain landmarks. I think that's
It's amazing. Yeah, I mean, as I said in the beginning, that digital has already happened years ago.
Yes.
And we were here at the school in Freiburg, we were at the forefront in terms of digital dentistry.
Yeah.
I remember 2010, we introduced the face scanners, and we started utilizing face scanners on patients to do cases. And I have to give credit to our dear friend Enrico Steger,
Yes.
who was and continued to be a mastermind in terms of combining analog and digital. Started 2005, but he did a lot of things. And in terms of Florin and the group, I have to give credit also to Eric van Doren, who is the mastermind bringing everyone together as a group of people who are looking forward how to advance dentistry. All of them are dear friends, all of them are amazing people. I know that Guto Giordani calls him Papa.
Yes.
Everyone started to call him Papa, but I have to say with Florin, with David, with Eric, and everyone from that group, it's an amazing experience. Working together, enjoying time together, discussions on agreeing some stuff, disagreeing. It's a very enriching experience. Yes.
Yeah. Well, like-minded people, bringing the groups together, as we've just said, sharing the energy, the thoughts, and coming up with new ideas. Star concept. You mentioned David Noré, who's been, if I'm not mistaken, starting the protocol in Belgium, and you basically helped spread the word with liaising, writing articles, publishing that part. Take us through that journey.
It's an interesting, again, it goes back to Papa, Eric, where we had our first meeting before the launch of SmileCloud.
Yeah.
We met in Timișoara as a group back in 2019, I remember. And it was a really enriching experience for all of us, because each one of us gave a lecture and there were discussions really to the core of the topic. And I remember David did not make it to be there in person. He presented back at that time online. And it was actually before COVID and all of these things, so it was for us unusual to see someone presenting online. So I did not get it. What was that he was talking about? And actually, the name Star Concept did not tick into my mind until Eric has connected me and David, and then we started discussing about writing a paper about the topic. And then we met exactly 4 years ago, me and David, in person. And I have to say, he's an amazing person. He's a very bright-minded person, and at the same time, no filters, which I like a lot about him.
Yes, I appreciate that a lot.
Straightforward, no filters, and he says he's the devil and I'm the devil, the contrary to I'm the angel, or something like this, which I'm not, of course, but like he shoots and I try to calm down or put something on the wound. We synced in a very nice way and continue to sync in a very nice way. Same with Florin, same with Eric, same with anyone of that group. And we started thinking about the STAR concept, how to elevate it. So we wrote the first paper. We did a couple of cases together. And I fell in love with it in terms how we can even improve it. Then it became like the next FP1 concept. And in my opinion, why it got so much traction, why a lot of people are interested in it, is simply because the All-in-X, regardless whether it's 4, 6, or 10 implants, you have to think that it has been a very aggressive procedure. thinking about the need just to cut the bone of the patients unnecessarily. This is something that does not consider the lifetime of the patient.
Yeah.
There's a quote in the group: if any treatment can be considered successful in dentistry if you have to repeat it one more time in the lifetime of a patient.
Yeah.
So imagine that you have sacrificed a lot of the bone of the patient in order to simplify implant placement and simplify the prosthetic work. What are you going to do if you lose these implants? And this is why the STAR concept got so much traction. No need for bone reduction.
Yeah.
It's fully digital. It incorporates teamwork and very predictable and very accurate, enabling you to get to the FP1, FP2. It works also for FP3, but ultimately, since it preserves bone, preserves the anatomical structures, you get easily to the FP1 type of rehabilitation. So it got a lot of traction. A lot of people wanted to go out of that unnecessary bone reduction and avoid all of these aggressive procedures. So that's again why the STAR concept got all of that traction. And we're just starting now. It's like just getting a lot of courses are being prepared ahead, new tools, surgical tools, and also in terms of digital tools, in terms of the digital planning, all of these are being incorporated and will be introduced very soon in order to make it easier for the colleagues, make it more predictable and also more accurate.
I remember one of the first social media posts I saw from you and David, and I thought, oh, hang on, these guys are onto something. It instantly made so much sense, and you've explained it so well. And I'm still stunned how much thought you've been given on each and every single step. You just mentioned tooling, which is being incorporated in the beta testing now, and we're going to full launch end of this year, beginning next year, probably, according to the manufacturer. But digital planning, heat map in the software calculation with only minor bone reductions to really seat the guides, to stack them nicely, to deliver the pros work. I mean, FP1 is the ultimate challenge to do well in implant prosthodontics, and it's just amazing the opportunities you've given to the craftsmanship of dentistry and dental master technicians. They supported planning, the streamline of the workflow, basically, making it accessible to more people, I guess, which is really something that I think is making all the difference. The implants are usually being placed straight. It's making so much sense on every single step, and I like the coincidence of the group saying, look, we preserve as much as we can. And I remember that discussion in Timisoara on the broader stage as well, saying, okay, always remind yourselves if you want to go back one more time for the patient. So that really helps you to provide the right framework of what we're doing. It's not drill and fill. It's really offering a perspective for the patient and seeing them as individuals and provide the best possible care for that situation. And what's coming together there is really absolutely amazing. So congratulations on your
Thank you.
great work.
I mean, it's a teamwork. It's not one-man show. And thinking about the whole STAR concept as a workflow, it does not only think about like how to utilize or plan where the implants are, but again, you start from the face and go in the patient's mouth, thinking where the teeth they should be, how the shape is going to be. So it's a backward planning, similar to what we have been doing back then in Freiburg, but
Amazing,
it's
isn't it?
completely digital. That's the beauty of where you go back and think about, we have been doing the same, but now it's so much, I wouldn't say easier, but it's more streamlined. It's more predictable. You have all of these tools. Thinking about, start with the smile cloud. You just start with a facial analysis. You start with setting the smile design, whether it's in 2D, and then you transition to 3D. And then you utilize this as a blueprint for positioning your implants and designing your temporary, and then also the guides related to it. The joy is going through this whole workflow before you go ahead and then extract a single tooth or touch the patient. This is a pure joy because you think about every single aspect of the whole treatment before you go ahead and jump onto the patient. So you are very well prepared. There are no surprises. This is the beauty of incorporating digital workflows, visualization, understanding the case from A to Z, setting the right plan for the patient, and then predictable execution.
Nothing more to add. Effectiveness, you mentioned right in the beginning, you've become super fast already. Full arch uppercase takes
2
you...
hours, less than 2 hours, something like this. Because the majority of the time you invest in front of the computer and the design process and verifying. So execution, you already run everything in your head and you know step 1, step 2, step 3. For the patients, I mean, it's an amazing experience. Because that fear of a surgery, they think, oh my God, my teeth are going to be extracted. They're going to place so many implants. They are going to drill in my bone, and then they're going to do this and this and this. Such procedures, up to this date, they take a whole day. Many DSOs, whether in the US or outside the US, they reserve a full day for the patient in order to, first, surgeon will come, do the surgery, and then the second segment or the second half of the day will be dedicated to the prosthodontist who's going to deliver the teeth. So for the patient, it's a very tiring, stressful experience. Many of these patients, they go for general anesthesia or deep sedation. If you're doing the procedure in a couple of hours, you can do some oral sedation for the patient, and it goes very fast, and they will be surprised that I didn't expect that it's going to be that short time. So this is one of the biggest advantages of STAR concept, that the chair time or the clinical working time on the patient is significantly reduced compared to any other concept.
Yeah, I can exactly confirm what you've just said, because that's exactly what we've been doing. 5-10 years ago, we started to try to duplicate the stackable guides you've been presenting with STAR up until we were allowed into the group, and now it's really becoming more efficient, much more gentle for the patient. And yeah, as you've said, with the patient's eyes, just to say, okay, we're good with half a day. And it's okay, it's just a surgery. No, it's surgical and pros, and it's so nicely fitting and yeah, changing the life in an instant. It's really been quite an amazing journey, and it's wonderful to have that in the profession.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's next, Wael? What's dentistry, implant dentistry, having for us in the pocket for the next 1 or 2 decades?
It's a little bit difficult to say what we're going to have in the next couple of decades, but maybe we can look at the landscape of developments that are happening right now and what other industries are trying to introduce or are introducing. And simply, it's not about introducing one tool or something like this, but they're focusing nowadays on workflows. So we will see way more streamlined workflows, focusing on different procedures in dentistry. And of course, one of the biggest things that are going to be continuing to improve is AI. 6 months ago, we had only about 4 types or 5 types of AI in dentistry. Today, we have 9 types of AI, whether we're talking about machine learning, deep learning, generative AI, computer vision, robotic AI, and I have to highlight here in terms of robotic AI, we're talking about semi-autonomous robotics. You have the NLP or the natural language processing, and others, of course. So we have 9 types of AI at the moment. In the very near future, you're gonna add at least 8 new types of AI. One of which I can mention is the multimodal AI, which is combining different types of algorithms, focusing on different aspects under one umbrella. For example, speaking about periopros, imagine that you will have an AI that is going to be able to perform treatment planning, not in terms of a single crown inlay only, but it's going to give you a comprehensive treatment plan, similar to what we're doing.
Yes.
It's like a human-like decision-making process in terms of what you need to plan. In this case, what do you have to do, backed up by science. That's a huge. There is Also, one thing that is interesting, we utilize in terms of NLP or natural language processing, utilizes the language when we're talking and then providing answers. But the next level is going to be called the emotion AI, meaning that it will be talking to you and at the same time observing your facial expressions and changing the language accordingly. And that's for patient clarification, patient interviews, discussions, whether it's about the treatment itself, whether about the cost, because you know that the jaw drops of the patient when they hear the,
Literally,
I'm
yeah.
just kidding. Like when these things happen, you imagine that you have an AI that is going to adapt according to the facial expressions of the patient. That's also huge. And one of the biggest things that I see that is going to happen is actually robotic AI. And when we speak about robotics, we're talking now about transitioning from semi-autonomous to autonomous, meaning that the robot will execute procedures without any human intervention. I'll give you an example about something that is happening right now that actually going to become way more advanced than it is now, and is going to change a lot of the things that we're thinking about. Imagine that you are a patient, you are taking a selfie, similar when you go to Instagram, you take like these filters and you create a nice smile for yourself. That smile, it isn't 2D or it's on your phone, but it will be translated into a 3D and then will be sent to your dentist, who is going to move it from 2D or transition it from 2D to 3D. Now, what are you going to do with this 3D smile? Usually what we are doing nowadays is to go and 3D print a model or utilize the visualization capacities of current AIs. For example, by SmileCloud, yes, you can transition it into a video that the patient can visualize and see it. But if you take that 3D design and apply it onto the patient's teeth, and then there will be a reverse engineering process in terms of prepping the teeth virtually, subtracting the surfaces virtually, and then designing restorations, whether temporaries or final work. Let's take the example of veneers. You have, for example, you're doing 6 veneers in the anterior. So it has been reverse engineered. They manufacture the temporary veneers or the final veneers, and the patient will come to the office, and in the same appointment, the robot will be prepping the teeth, and then the dentist will deliver the finals in one shot. This is, of course, a game changer. So you have an autonomous robot that is executing pre-calculated vectors or movements that according to these final restorations. Because the current workflow is that you prep the teeth, you take the scan, you send them to the lab, and then utilize the shapes that you have predefined to adapt them to the final restorations, and then you deliver. 2 appointments, 3 appointments, 4 appointments. But now you are able to manufacture the final work prior to cutting the teeth. That's a game changer, of course. And there is a French company that is doing this. They are in the development phase, but they started with doing the first patients, and I think there are more than 15 patients so far. The study is ongoing, and once they have the certification, I think it's going to see the light in a very big way.
Yeah. When is that going to happen, you reckon?
I think in the next year or two, you will see these things coming. I mean, our dear friends Stefan Scholz and Galeb Gorel, they are working very hard on it, and the company is, as I said, in France. There are many engineers working in the background doing it, and I think it's going to be a big game changer. And it's not going to be the only one, because if you think about in other countries, there's the autonomous robot that can place implants, was in the news a few years ago. There's another one from the US. It's good to have multiple teams working on the same topic, but with different visions, because this will elevate all of us, or elevate the technology in a very fast way. So going back to what's happening in terms of AI, you will see a lot of AIs that are being introduced. And the ultimate goal, again, is to elevate our patient care, make us more predictable in terms of what we're doing, and more efficient. This is, in my opinion, is going to be the next development in the next, not 10 years even, in the next 5 years.
I think that's an excellent point. AI is happening already. It is happening fast. And in terms of robotics, what you've said, I'm being asked all the time, well, Stefan, what do you think? Is robotics going to play a role at all? I mean, it's happening already. And it's been in the news, as you've said. And it'll really change so much so quickly. And going back to our initial talk, where we said, well, it's not a question if you're going to switch to digital, it's happening already. And if you're not changing, you're going to be left behind. If you do not take on board these developments, you will be left behind. There is no alternative to that. And it's very interesting that you've said you have connections on different continents, different companies, but it's not all happening in the Far East or something. It's really happening here, and good people, great minds are working on it very consistently, and we'll see this come to life very soon. It's very exciting times.
It is very exciting times. To be a dentist,
Yes.
I think it's an amazing time to be a dentist nowadays, yes. Looking back in terms of our generation,
Yeah.
that we had everything analog and then we transitioned to digital, combining it with analog, and now being fully digital, we experience it all. So it's
Yeah.
nice. The next generation of dentists, they will just learn it the digital way, and that's an amazing thing to experience.
For good reason, yeah, and but they do not feel the joy you and I have been feeling, being able to let go analog. And it was good times as well, but it's so exciting to really ride that wave and yeah, remain open to what's coming. What is your personal future going to look like? What are your personal 10, 15, 20 years going to look like? Will you be traveling the world, giving lectures? Will you be full on as you've been for the last 2.5 decades, or is there anything else beyond teeth you're planning for the future?
I wish I had a clear answer for this,
Yeah.
because there are no facts what is going to happen in the future. Yet you have personal goals, and these personal goals are just focusing on, again, I go back to the 4 things that I mentioned.
Yes.
Everything that I'm going to make a decision about is around these non-negotiables. I want to continue to improve as a dentist, and anything that I'm learning, I would like to convey it to my colleagues. So we continue our goals in terms of all growing together and learning from each other and helping others to grow, and ultimately the patients. So to provide better service to our patients for the lifetime of their teeth, lifetime of their smiles, and that's what satisfies us mostly. We chose this profession because we would like to serve our patients and do better for them, and I think that's the most satisfying thing, is to see that smile on the patient's face.
Yeah, but it's interesting, your reaction was similar to mine, where I thought, hang on, I do have a business plan, I'm fully soaked up by my everyday business, but is there a bigger plan in life? And I think it's quite hard to answer that question to the point, as long as we like what we are doing, if the energy, the enthusiasm is still there, and as long as I'm surrounded by the right people. For me, that's very important, and that's why I admire the group, and that's why I'm so thankful to be part of this community. I can hardly see myself slowing down. On the other hand side, I do love to travel. I love surfing. I have a great family. You mentioned your family support as well. So I do see a lot of similarities there. And yeah, it'll be just wonderful if our paths will cross in the future as well. And
They will.
we'll see
They will.
what it happens.
It's amazing time. I mean, we think about the world is big, yet it's very small. And every
In
time,
dentistry in
like
particular, yes.
you go and travel, you going escalator. Let's say in China, I meet one colleague going down the escalator. It's a small world, and again, we share the same passion. We share the same goals. But to come to your point about long-term goals is something like this. It's good actually not to know, because you know what is it? It's a sign that we're still young.
Yeah, yeah, it's a very good
Exactly.
point,
So
isn't it?
basically, we're still young in a sense that we're just open for anything that is going to come.
Well, thank you so much for this exciting session, for making the effort of being here during your holidays
Appreciate it.
on a Saturday. And yeah, I think that's what keeps us going, the energy, the friendship. And thank you for sharing all the knowledge with us, with the audience. And thank you for your friendship. And
Thank you so much, Stefan. Always a pleasure being here, always to see you and catch up with you. Apart from an interview or something like this, but it's always to catch up with good people like you. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, thank you guys. If you want to learn more, just tap into our YouTube channel, Digital Dentistry Masterclass, and join us on Instagram, and we'll see you down the road.